well, you didn't know that, and you didn't know that, because we could both do that.
I didn't swear an oath to uphold the Constitution, though. You did.
Look,
and you don't know the 5 elements of the very first law in that document?
Do you think this is okay for you to harass me this way? You came right here and put your camera right in my face.
That's not right in your face. I was like 4 feet away from you.
Stood over me. You intimidated me.
No. Now you're a manipulator. Now, see, you're going backwards, man. Now you're a liar. You're a manipulator.
Why are you doing that?
I'm not, like I said, a psychologist or a doctor, but I think you might be a covert narcissist. You should look it up, man.
So you're a doctor now, and you're a diagnosis.
I just specifically told you that I'm not. Do you see? That's now you're actually proving your covert narcissism even further.
I just want your viewers to see. I mean you no harm. I've lived a life of service dedicated to upholding the principles in the Constitution.
You'd already told me that if you were the officer on the call for service, that you would use violence and force on me. So you would arrest me if you came in here and you were the officer called for service?
I would.
Okay.
I would.
So you do mean us harm. Hey guys, welcome to the Public Defender's Office video, part 2, featuring my good friend, Nasty Nathaniel. All right. If you haven't seen the first video, I recommend you go check that one out first so you're all caught up to date. I made a playlist called Public Defender's Office. Let's do a quick recap of the first video.
You are not allowed to be here. If you have business here, no, don't interrupt me. This is not a conversation. You have to go.
We're calling the police. If you don't leave, you're gonna get in trouble. Please leave. For your own good.
If they violate our rights and arrest us, then we'll be back here to apply for the public defender. And I hope that you're not the one defending me though, man, because you don't know the law.
For people that have legitimate business.
I told you this is legitimate business.
What is your business?
I told you, taking pictures.
Take your pictures and go.
Yeah, we're going to, but we're going to leave when we're ready to leave, and we're not going to leave when you tell us to or anyone else does.
I've asked you do not film anything back here because this is private work product. Great, thank you.
So you either want the cops that come here to tell you you have permission to be on this property.
Yeah, because I need you and I need the employees to be educated on the First Amendment, the Constitution.
Okay.
I can come in here and take pictures from open to close Monday through Friday, and there's nothing you guys can do about it.
A few times that you have, experience in dealing with, I'm gonna guess. I don't know if you're gonna tell me, but I'm gonna guess maybe you're ex-law enforcement.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of what I was assuming.
Good old Nasty Nathaniel was pretty good at sniffing out this cop, wasn't he? And a lot of you may have sniffed him out as well based on his behavior in the first video. He was trying to act like my buddy so he can get information out of me. Then he was recording us, telling us he's a representative of the owner of this building and I'm asking you to leave. Are you refusing to leave? He was just trying to set us up for charges of trespassing. Not only is Steve Nobilitt an accomplished 28-year veteran police officer for the Colorado Springs Police Department who retired as a lieutenant, he's also a former Marine who served in Desert Storm. Not only that, he ran for sheriff of El Paso County in 2022. All of these accolades, and this man doesn't even know the 5 elements of the First Amendment. And he thinks that he can trespass us from a public facility just because it's privately owned. This is the type of man we do not need in a position of power or authority over anyone. Just like Bay Area Transparency says, who by the way makes a guest appearance in this video, it's your training that failed you. 6 months in the academy isn't enough. Hell, apparently 28 years on the force isn't enough. This is completely unacceptable and we demand better. Make sure you check out the new DMA Facebook page. The link's in the description of this video, and it's also in my About section. Subscribe to Nasty Nathaniel and Bay Area Transparency. All right, guys, enjoy the video. So what was your rank when you retired?
Lieutenant.
Wow, so you were a lieutenant, and you think that we have to leave this public lobby here?
I do.
Which department did you work for?
The Colorado Springs Police Department.
Colorado Springs
Oh, really?
Police Department.
Oh, wow.
So that's funny because you might know some people. Do you know Officer Wright? He's got the mohawk. He's out of Sand Creek though.
Can't say that.
So I was actually in a public space, public lobby recording, and they called the police on me, and he came and with Officer Milky, and they said, hey man, you have a right to be here, this is a public space. He said, I was in the military and I believe in the Constitution and I'm here to protect your rights and I'm here to allow you to exercise your rights safely.
I was in the military and all that stuff, so I'm a believer in the Constitution and, protecting everybody's, constitutional rights, man, and that's what you're here doing, and I'm here to make sure you be able to do that and do it safely, okay?
And he told them there's nothing they can do, and he buckled and bounced, and I gave him a bunch of praise, and everyone in the comment section has been like praising him, good job. And then there's a corporal, I can't remember his name, older gentleman out of Gold Hill also, who trespassed me and arrested me. I left in handcuffs.
You're not being detained for the crime of trespass. I'm going to be issuing you a citation. Set the camera down, put your hands behind your back.
And complete opposite reaction, man. So it's the same thing. Colorado Springs Police Department, both in public, accessible areas, public lobbies. One says you have a constitutional right to do this, and we're out of here, man. Have fun. The other guy says you have to leave because they asked you to leave, and he arrested me, and we're going to see what happens with that. I still got court on it, so. But that's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? Like the difference of opinions, 2 officers from Colorado Springs. One says that I can, and one says that I can't. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's conflicting, right? And then I have had sergeants who's told me that, yes, I don't see why you wouldn't be allowed to take pictures. Sergeant Maxon from out of Gold Hill at the nighttime downtown told me, I don't know why it would be an issue for you to take pictures in that area that you got arrested at. Can I get your final opinion then before we go though on the utilities thing?
I can't imagine if you went in to pick up a pamphlet and that's all you're doing, even if you brought, your camera in there, right, it'd be an issue.
I've had also Sergeant Dyer from Falcon Division tell me that same thing, that it's not illegal to record in that space.
All he would said, it was just, I thought he was filming my child. I don't know if he's a pedophile. I don't know. And I'm like, well, for one, it's not against the law to film and in that capacity. So
that's mind-blowing, man. It was mind-blowing enough too for these public defenders who are attorneys to not know the law, that this is a public space and we can be in here. Now you're telling me that you were a lieutenant, that high ranking at the Colorado Springs Police Department. I mean, you must have trained that corporal that arrested me then, man.
I've already explained everything to you, why I think you're wrong. And I have a lot of experience in this area. I'm not saying that, I know everything, and I bet you're not saying you know everything. What I'm saying is that, I believe that because you don't have an appointment here today, you don't have legitimate business with the public defender's office.
Yes, I do.
You're just here to prove a point, and you're just here to interfere with how they want.
190% incorrect.
Can I finish? This was my shot to talk. I'm just telling you what I believe, that they want to conduct business a certain way, and they can't because they're afraid that you will record some conversation they're having with a client. Now you disagree. You believe that, well, if you're afraid of that, you should put up glass or soundproof it and that kind of thing. And they believe that they don't need to do that they should be able to conduct business without fear of someone holding a camera up there and recording conversations. Like I told you before, I believe that this is a call for the courts. You're not wrong. You got a government entity that is renting space in a private building. I retired, and I was hired by the owner of this building to provide security for his building. I was called over here because they called the property manager that works for the owner, and they asked me to come over here because they were concerned for the security of the space. And so I'm telling you that based on my experience, I believe you're wrong on this one.
So you would arrest me if you came in here and you were the officer called for service?
I would.
Okay.
I would. I would charge you with trespassing. It's a signed complaint. You'll get a ticket.
What'd you say? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's a ticket.
Yeah. So you'd arrest us, put us in handcuffs, and you take us into the patrol car, and then you cite us and release us, right?
Right.
Okay. So we'll see, man, because I don't back down from my rights, bro.
I don't want you to.
But man, you swore an oath to the Constitution, and that oath doesn't stop after you stop being a police officer. And you need to see, that's the problem. Hold on, wait. Remember you said don't interrupt me, okay?
Right.
And I respect it.
Don't impugn my respect or reverence for the Constitution, though.
The problem with the police officers in the United States today is that they swear an oath to defend the United States Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and they do absolutely zero training on the First Amendment, on the Bill of Rights.
Were you in the military, young man?
No, I actually didn't have that honor. All right, let's stop it right there, guys. You just heard me say I didn't get to take that honor. And the reason I said that is because when I'm out here, I'm running on pure instinct. Those of you who have followed the DMA channel diligently know that my ideals come from the founders of this country, who are actually against the idea of standing armies, because they understood that countries don't attack countries, but governments attack governments. If you want to use your standing army to police the world, it creates blowback, which is creating enemies faster than you can kill them. The reason the Second Amendment exists is because the founders wanted us to have well-organized militias. That's the greatest defense against being invaded. After World War II, when Hirohito was asked why he didn't invade the mainland, he said, quote, "Because there would be a rifle behind every blade of grass."
Did you serve in a police department?
Okay, well tell me then, did they teach you the Bill of Rights in the academy? They did? Because I've actually spoke with several police officers. I just had an interaction with an officer.
I served in the military. I've served this country in the Marine Corps.
I just had a conversation with
for almost 30 years.
I just had a conversation.
What have you done? What have you done?
You know what? I have about 100,000 followers, and I've actually have followers that are in the military and ex-cops who have told me that I have done more.
Don't talk down to me.
You know what, man? You're starting to go backwards, bro. I don't appreciate it, man. You talk about interrupting, and every time I'm trying to speak, you keep interrupting. And I respected your right, or your conversation. I shut up and I was quiet and let you finish. And now it's my turn to talk.
You're good? Oh, yeah.
I have people who are military vets who support me and have told me specifically that I actually have done more. I have done more to protect their rights than they ever did in the wars and the war against terror, which actually creates blowback, which creates enemies faster than you can kill them.
And I told you that.
But my point was that I
served in the Marine Corps during the first Iraq or war in Iraq.
Right.
Where were you? Right? I served in that.
Yeah,
I did that.
So were you protecting me?
And then from there, I've served the last 30 years with the police department.
Yeah.
And I spent my whole life
That's a
doing
problem,
that.
man.
And I think you're wrong.
And you don't know the First Amendment of the Constitution.
I do know it.
Well, what is it? Tell me the 5 elements of the First Amendment.
Wrong.
What are the 5 elements of the First Amendment?
I'm not going to play a quiz with you.
You tell me the 5 elements. You tell me the 5 elements of the First Amendment. I'll leave right now.
I'm not going to play your game.
Exactly, man. That's what I'm talking. You just proved my point. You swore an oath and you don't even know the 5 elements of the First Amendment, man. That's a problem.
I could do the same thing to you. We're not here to try to pick each other's brain. Well, you didn't know that, and you didn't know that, because we could both do that.
I didn't swear an oath to uphold the Constitution, though. You did.
Look,
and you don't know the 5 elements of the very first law in that document?
I didn't say I didn't know it.
Well,
I just refused to play your game.
You said, what can I do to get you guys to leave? And I'm telling you right now, tell me the 5 elements of the First Amendment and we'll bounce out of here.
We're waiting on the cops.
Okay.
Remember?
Exactly. You have told me before, what can I do to get you guys to leave? And I'm telling you right now.
Is there anything we can do to get you guys to leave? See, do you think this is okay?
Your pride and ego's on top of the Rock of Gibraltar, and you can't just be like, yeah, I don't know.
Do you think this is okay for you to harass me this way?
This is harass. So you're a police officer, so
I'm not.
harassment is 18.
I'm a citizen. I'm a regular. I'm just like you.
Yeah, but this isn't harassing. I'm standing.
You're intimidating me.
No, I'm not intimidating.
You came right here and put your camera right in my face.
That's not right in your face. I was like 4 feet away from you.
Stood over me. You intimidated me.
No. Now you're a manipulator. Now, see, you're going backwards, man. Now you're a liar. You're a manipulator.
Why are you doing that?
I just had a conversation.
You think this is okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think this is okay?
Yep.
You think it's okay to treat people like this?
You're the one calling the police and initiating violence and force on us. You told me straight up that you would arrest me for being here if you were the officer on scene.
Told you what I would do.
Yeah.
You asked me, I was honest with you.
And now you're trying to manipulate, saying that I'm committing harassment. Actually, you want to know what happened? I actually spoke with Sergeant Dyer, and there was actually a guy that got right in my face, and he spit on my face, everything, man. And they wouldn't even.
I'm not trying to.
Man, I'm not even gonna have a conversation with you because you keep interrupting me, dude, and I'm gonna disengage with this guy.
I just want you guys to leave. That's it. It's gonna take the cops a while to get here. This is not a high priority.
Yeah, it's a no priority. Half a law enforcement officer is a lieutenant for Colorado Springs who doesn't know the 5 elements of the First Amendment. And I told you I'd leave, man. I just straight up said, hey, I will walk right out of here peacefully if you could tell me.
You just made a statement.
Well, tell me then. Prove me wrong.
I don't need to prove you wrong.
Okay, yeah.
See, just like you have a right to record and be there, I have a right not to answer you.
Right. If you knew, you would be proud to say, yeah, I swore an oath to defend the Constitution.
Again, you're putting me on camera and you're trying to intimidate me, and it's not going to work.
Man, you
I
are
don't feel
something
it,
else, bro.
honestly,
I'm trying
I
to
don't feel
intimidate
we're
you.
trying to intimidate. Oh, I know, I'm not trying to intimidate, my partner's not trying to intimidate anybody.
You guys didn't like it when I pulled out my phone and I was recording you guys.
I didn't care.
I didn't care, yeah, I mean, people record me all the time. I mean,
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Hold on a second, now you're lying again. When did I say that I didn't like it when you...
Now I'm lying?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When did I lie before?
When did I say that I didn't like to have
When did
pictures
I
taken?
lie before?
By saying that I'm getting in your face
You
and
did.
intimidating me? I was
Didn't-
like 4 feet from
Can
you,
you
man.
rewind it? He came right here. and
You're a
put it-
law enforcement officer and you're kind of trying to say that that was harassment? That's
You're
crazy.
trying to harass, not legal harassment. You're trying to intimidate me. You're trying to... you're
Intimidating
trying to-
someone
you're trying to
with the
bother
intent
me.
to intimidate, that would be subsection
Not
C
talking
of the
legal.
harassment law.
Not talking legal. I'm just
Okay.
talking to your viewers that if someone came and threw a camera in your face
It's not in
and they're
your
10
face.
feet away, but then all of a sudden they move to be 3 feet away, is that not an intimidating gesture?
I just wanted to get a good picture of you.
Viewers,
You're in
I
public.
hope you see
You're in
through
public,
this.
man. So, you know, United States Supreme Court case law, Katz versus United States.
Try this at the DA's office if you're going to get arrested. You
What?
get arrested real fast there.
What happened?
If you tried this at the DA's office,
I've never
your
been
goal
to
is
the
get
DA's office.
arrested.
Actually, I filmed inside the DA's.
You'll get
multiple
arrested pretty
DA's
quick there, I'm
offices.
sure. I'm sure you got arrested a lot faster there than
No,
you
actually,
are.
I've never been arrested.
I've never been to the DA's office, so you're talking about someone else.
Oh, except for when I snowed.
He just said he's been there.
What?
You just said you've been there, yeah?
No, I've been to the district attorney's offices, yes.
Yeah, the DA's office.
Yeah, but I've never been arrested for filming a DA's office, just like I've never been arrested for filming a police station. I've never been arrested for, filming a courthouse or a post office or a military base or,
Now, I think it's good. I think we should keep it light. I think me and the guy that, you won't tell me your name, just say, Mr. Doe here. I didn't mean to get sideways with you. I wasn't trying to do that. But you got to understand, I spent my whole life, defending this country.
So I was trying to explain to you, you said you swore an oath to the Constitution, right? So Katz versus United States is United States Supreme Court case law. It states that there's no expectation of privacy in public. So we're in public. You think this is not public, but we are. So you don't have expectation. I can get 4 feet from you and I can record you. That's not intimidation, okay? Now if I were to literally get inches from you with the intent to alarm or annoy, yeah, that could be harassment. But getting 4 feet from you so I get a better shot and a close-up, because I don't like to do zoom in here. It's better, it's more smooth if I go up that way.
Can I ask you, you said with the intent to annoy, who determines that?
Well, the police officers that do the investigation, they would determine that, and then when it went to trial, then the jury would determine it at the end of the day.
All right.
Right? You should know that, right? You're a lieutenant. Why are you asking me?
I'm not saying I didn't know it. I was asking you a question.
Oh, so you're just testing me?
Curious what you think, how you get to the point of intent.
It just has to be proven. If the officer thinks there's enough, reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime was committed, that he had
Is that
intent
what
to.
it takes to arrest somebody, reasonable articulable suspicion?
Well, you have to have reasonable articulable suspicion to detain someone for a crime in the state of Colorado, CRS 16-3-103. Yeah.
You studied that?
I study a lot of laws in the state.
What does it take to be arrested in the state of Colorado?
Probable cause.
Okay. What is that?
You want to explain?
probable cause.
I'm just wondering. I'm just...
You already know. You're a lieutenant, man. So you're trying to
I
test
know
me.
what probable cause is. I am, but I reversed it there a little bit. I'm asking you a bunch of questions. You're not on camera though. I don't have my camera out putting it, on you, putting you under the pressure of being recorded and then playing it back.
Well, that's
How
no
many-
pressure.
How many fans do you guys have?
What
How
was
many
that?
followers do you guys have for your
Hundreds of thousands.
over 100,000?
Oh, yeah, we have well over 100,000 between the two of us. So, probably, we're talking like
Tell
tens.
me who you are so I can follow you.
No, man. You're trying to initiate force and violence on me by calling the police.
Me?
You told me that you would arrest me if you were here for the call of service.
I'm not,
And you think
though.
I'm going to tell you the name of my channel?
It's not
You'll
my
when the
job.
video comes out, you'll find out. Trust me. Trust me, you'll know when you see it.
Just tell me who you are. I'd like to follow you. I'd like to see what you're about. You were all...
I already told you my name. Yeah.
Osmond?
Parker Osmond.
Parker Osmond.
Osmond, yeah.
Osmond.
But without the D. O-S-M-O-N.
Osmond. Why don't you want me to know who you are?
You'll find out. You'll find out enough. So
What's that about? Why don't you want to just give me your name? I mean you no harm. I'm just curious. You know who I am. You're
kind of like a wolf in sheep's clothing. You say you mean me no harm, but you'd already told me that if you were the officer on the call for service, that you would use violence and force on me, and you would detain me in torture cuffs, and you would take me down there and cite me with a crime, and then release me. So you already told me that you would incite violence on me.
I think that's a mischaracterization of being arrested. Is inciting
Okay, well, what if I
violence.
decide I don't want to be kidnapped and I'm not going to leave willingly? Then what would happen? What would you do to me?
Well, if you refuse to comply once you were told you were under arrest, I mean, the appropriate and reasonable force would be used to arrest you.
Yeah, and it's you can actually resist unreasonable arrest or an illegal arrest. Did you know that? But see, I would never do that, because what happens is then the cops tase me or shoot me, or I get killed. I'm not willing to die for that. I'd rather just get the ticket or get arrested and then try to fight it in court. But yeah, man, you can't just kidnap people and put them in torture cuffs because they're exercising their constitutional rights, the ones that you swore an oath to. But I mean, you're a lieutenant, and you're refusing to tell me the 5 elements of the very first law in that document. So that's not good, man. It's not good. It's not really a good look for you or for the department that you worked for so many years, or it's not a good look for the Marine Corps that you swore an oath to defend this country. You don't know the 5 elements of the First Amendment, or at least you're unwilling to at least just state at least a couple of them, or what you do know.
So you've just said bad things about the Marine Corps, the department I used to work for, and everything else, don't you?
I said it's a bad look for the Marine Corps.
Do you think any of your viewers might not like that? Are you going to put that on there?
I said it's a bad
look. Are you going to
look.
put this whole recording on your...
No, I'm probably going to cut out the boring parts, but I'll leave the important parts in.
You leave these parts in there?
Yeah, I'll leave it in.
Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't say that bad things about the Marine Corps. I said it's a bad look for the Marine Corps that you represented for so long. You said you were an Iraq War veteran, right? But that's what I said. It's a bad look.
I served during the first conflict. I have lived a life of service. Lived a life of service. And all I'm asking you to do is leave. And you're refusing to leave, and then you want to try to tear me down. You want to try to make me look bad because I didn't cite your articles. I didn't answer your questions the way you wanted me to. Just like you, I don't like to be intimidated, and I'm not going to let you intimidate me into doing something. So I don't think it's fair. You're all about justice and the Constitution and these kinds of things, but you get mad at me because I didn't play into your game.
Have you ever heard of a covert narcissist?
A covert narcissist. I know what that means, but I haven't heard of that, no.
Okay. Well, if you haven't heard of it, how do you know what it means?
Well, I know what covert means, and I know what narcissist means.
So you should look it up. I mean, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I do a lot of research on a lot of things, like law, civil liberties, psychology, social dynamics, the way human beings respond to people, stuff like that. I've taken some classes on it too. And I'm not, like I said, a psychologist or a doctor, but I think you might be a covert narcissist. You should look it up, man.
So I'm a covert. Now you've insulted me.
No, it's not an insult. Like, if I say Mexicans like beans, is that an insult? Or, I mean, is that just calling a spade, right? Like, I'm Latino, and my family eats beans, but like, if somebody says, oh, Spanish people like beans, I'm not gonna be like, oh, that's an insult. No, man, I'm just saying, it's not an insult. It's a psychological condition.
So you're a doctor now, and you're a diagnosis.
I just specifically told you that I'm not. Do you see? That's now you're actually proving your covert narcissism even further.
So
by deflecting.
I'm a covert narcissist. Okay.
Yeah, because you're like very calm, and like you try to manipulate things that I do and that I say, and now you're saying that, oh well, you're deflecting right now. You're saying, oh well, you're a doctor, and I literally, before we started this conversation, I said I'm not a doctor.
But then you said you're a covert narcissist.
Yeah, I mean that's just my opinion. I can't diagnose you, but.
Well, thank you.
And it's based on this reaction, this interaction we're having. That's what I would think. I don't know you. Maybe if we hung out for a while, I'd have a different opinion. But based on this, at least maybe you're not a narcissist, but you at the very least do display narcissistic traits right now.
What are those?
Well, deflecting, number one, right? Manipulation, when you're trying to say that I'm like harassing you and stuff like that. You're deflecting the pressure off you and trying to make it into my fault. Same thing that these guys are doing, saying that it's our fault that they can't answer the phones, right? When really it's their fault that they didn't create privacy when they designed this building here, right? So they should have kept the First Amendment of the United States in mind when they did that. So that's a narcissistic trait, to blame others for your actions.
Okay.
I'm not saying you straight up are one. I'm just saying that you're displaying narcissistic behavior right now.
What I'm trying to do is just get you to leave. So I'm sitting here, I'm being calm.
I told you what you could do to get me to leave.
But see there, what psychological trait is that? You're trying to get me to do something you want me to do.
Hey, you know what?
Because you know that I want something.
No, it's because I know that you don't know it. That's why. Because if you knew, you'd just tell me.
But see that, come on, diagnose yourself. What is that? You're trying to get me to do something that you want me to do. I don't want to do it.
You know what I'm doing?
I want
That's
you
not
to
true.
leave.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to expose. We have a lieutenant and a former Marine who fought in Iraq, who doesn't even know the 5 elements.
Fight in Iraq. I didn't say I fought.
Okay, well, I mean, you said you were in the
I
Marines.
served during that
Okay,
time.
so you served in the Marine Corps and you were a
Right.
police officer for decades. And
Just
you were a
trying to,
lieutenant.
I'm just trying to get across to you that I, like you, I have a great respect for the Constitution.
Well, it
And
doesn't
as a
seem
matter
so.
of fact, I signed up with professions where I could have sacrificed my life for. And so that's all I'm saying. And I'm speaking to your viewers is just letting you know that I served, and I wouldn't ask you to do something that I thought was a violation of your constitutional rights. I just want your viewers to see, I mean you no harm. I've lived a life of service dedicated to upholding the principles in the Constitution, and I have been willing to sacrifice my life for it. I just wanted you to leave.
So again, right here, you just displayed more narcissistic traits. You're saying, I mean you no harm, but that's manipulation, because you just said that if you were on the call for service, you would arrest me and use force and coercion, right? So
Said I was a
so you
covert
do.
narcissist. I get it.
You do. You mean me harm.
I'm a covert
Like, if
narcissist.
you would use violence and do violent stuff on me for being in a peaceful and a public space, man. So you do mean us harm. So don't sit here and try to manipulate us and say, I mean you no harm.
I'm going to let the cops make the call. I'm just a representative.
Well, hopefully they're not influenced by you, since you're like, in cahoots with them, and were probably their boss at one point, so like, I feel like we're kind of in a lose-lose situation here. And we all do. I'm not saying that I don't have those traits too. Every human, I don't care if you're the most empathetic person if you're Mother Teresa, you're a human being, so it's duality, right? We live in duality, just like Einstein said. The theory of relativity, which is duality. You can have up without down, left without right, good, bad, hot, cold, you, me, male, female, right? Everything has a duality. So if you could be, like I said, Mother Teresa, and you're still going to display some type of narcissistic traits, because the universe is always looking for balance. So everyone has it. Narcissism is becoming more like trendy. So people just, my boyfriend or my girlfriend's a narcissist and this and that. And it's like, they probably just displayed some narcissistic traits. Doesn't mean that they're a full-blown, diagnosed narcissist, right? They don't have a narcissistic personality disorder. I don't think that you're probably a diagnosed narcissist. I'm just saying that that's a narcissistic trait, the manipulation that you've been doing. It's an uneasy feeling that we have attorneys here that don't know the law. We have a former police officer who was a lieutenant for the Colorado Springs Police Department for decades. Told me that he would put me in handcuffs and force me out here, guys. So that's not okay. And he asked me earlier, he said, hey, what could I do to get you guys to leave? And I couldn't think of anything right then, but then I just thought of something, and I told him, hey, tell me the 5 elements of the First Amendment that you swore an oath to protect, and we'll leave right now. And I would leave if he told me. But he doesn't want to tell me because he doesn't know, and that's a problem. And I'm sure you're a fine gentleman.
Because I
You
don't
seem-
know.
you
I
seem
don't like to be manipulated.
You seem like a good guy, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you're a fine gentleman.
I'm great.
I can tell. I'm not going to shake your hand. No, I'm not going to. You just told me, again, you would use violence on me if you were on the call
Come on,
for
man. You
service.
shake my hand, right?
Oh yeah, how about a fist bump?
Fist bump? You fist bump me?
No, I'm not going to.
You don't like
We're
me.
not friends. I don't like you, man. I don't like having my
I'm
rights
a covert
violated.
narcissist?
No, I mean, you were displaying narcissistic traits, yes. Right? And then you're trying to tell me that I'm manipulating, right? That's another deflection
Hurts my
tactic.
feelings that you don't like me.
No, it doesn't. You don't care. You don't like me, man. You don't. You don't like that I'm here.
Who's that?
This guy? This is Timmy Henley, and he was gunned down by 2 Westminster police officers by the names of Officer Louis Engelberg and Chris Hempelman. And they shot him. They shot 15 rounds, shot him 11 times. He was unarmed. They claim he had a knife, but the knife was found inside the apartment, and we think they planted it. And the department just settled. It's been about a year or so since they settled. Well, I don't know how much it was for. It's a non-disclosure agreement, but I'm assuming millions of dollars, and the 2 officers are still employed with the Westminster Police Department.
Sorry, Mr. Henley lost his life. Friend of yours?
No, I didn't know him. My friend who is a civil liberties activist, her name's Regan, and she was covering this story, and so I kind of just came in and helped cover the story too. So I did a story on this as well. We've both been covering it.
Are you from Colorado?
No.
Are you?
No.
Neither one of you are from here? Or do you live here now? I mean, or
I'm not going
is
to
this
answer
your
that.
town?
I'm not going to answer that. I will say I'm not from here.
Is this, I mean, but is this, you won't, sure, what are you afraid of? Like, I'm just wondering.
I'm not afraid. I just,
to this
I mean,
community.
you're a former law enforcement officer. You were a lieutenant. You're trying to get information so that when the cops come, you can kind of tell them and tell on me. I know the drill, man. I'm not stupid. I do this for a living, man. I'm not going to give you any identifying.
You know, I think you liked me before I told you that.
I told you I like you, that I think you're a good guy, and I would like to have a beer with you, and like I want to
Still?
like you. I don't know, man. I would sit down with you someday and have a beer and like go
Did
over
it
some
change
stuff.
your perception of me when I told you I was a guy?
It didn't change
It
my
seemed
perception.
to, right?
It didn't change my perception right away, but then when I started asking you about your oath to the Constitution, and that you said that if you were on this call for service, that you would arrest me and escort me out of here, then it changed.
Do you want me to lie to you though? I can't.
No, I don't want you to lie, but I want you to honor your oath. That's what I was trying to say.
So you disagree with me and you feel like I'm intentionally dishonoring you?
I don't think you're intentionally. I think that it's ignorance, and ignorance isn't stupid. Ignorance is lack of knowledge. So I think you're ignorant in the fact that you think this is not a public space and you could trespass me out of here. That's what I think.
And it matters nothing to you that I spent the last 3 decades doing this job.
It's actually very concerning to me that you spent the last 3 decades doing this
So
job and you
you
can't tell me.
believe that you know more about the law than I do?
Well, it would seem so in this particular instance, yes.
All right, well, and like I told you, I think this would be one of those that is for the courts to decide. And there's plenty of case law out there.
You want me to cite some for you? So we got out of the first.
Well, hold on, let's frame it into specific types of case law. Public spaces, so a space that has a connection to a public entity renting space in a private building. So do you have case law from that?
At the time, I was unaware of any relevant case law that pertains to this particular scenario, but after the first video dropped, a subscriber reached out to me with the 1991 case of Bach v. Westminster Mall, which is in Colorado. It's located in the Denver metropolitan area. In the 1991 Colorado Supreme Court landmark case of Bach v. Westminster Mall acknowledged an alternative scenario for free speech infringement by civilian actors and pushed the protection of free speech under the Colorado Constitution. They referred to Article 2, Section 10, Freedom of Speech and Press. No law shall be passed impairing the freedom of speech. Every person shall be free to speak, write, or publish whatever he will on any subject. Under this case law, the right to free speech is protected at privately owned commercial and retail centers with sufficient government associations. And the Westminster Mall had a Westminster Police substation located inside the mall. The city operates rent-free a police substation with a desk and a holding area in the mall. So there you go, guys. There's the case law that pertains to this particular situation. You cannot trespass from a government agency even if it's privately owned. But you guys already knew that. All right, let's get back to it.
As long as you're in a public space.
Public space, but that's where we're disagreeing. I think you agree that we can record public officials in the course of their duties. It's just that you're saying because this is owned by a private owner and the government's leasing this space, that all of a sudden makes it private. and that the owner of that's leasing the space can just kick anyone out that they don't want in there, and that's not true.
No, not just anyone they don't want in there. People that don't have legitimate business.
But I told you that taking pictures is legitimate business, remember? And if you've sworn oath to the Constitution, you should know that taking pictures is legitimate business.
Legitimate business here would be having an appointment and meeting with someone that works here.
Or it could be coming in here with taking pictures from open to close,
If
Monday to Friday.
it were a public space. I'm
Right.
disagreeing with
Okay,
you.
that's where we'll agree to disagree. It's
Yeah,
not a public
that's-
space, you're saying.
It's all we've ever disagreed on.
Okay. So that's what it is, guys. He thinks that this is not a public space. Let us know what you think. Is this a public space if it's a privately owned business, that it's a privately owned real estate or whatever, and they have several units here, but this particular space is leased by the state of Colorado? Give me a 1 for you agree with Big Dog right here, and give me a 2 for the former Lieutenant Colorado Springs Police Department. We'll take a vote. I'm Big Dog, so I just want to say my name yet. See, you're fishing, man. You're fishing. That's what cops are notorious for, fishing, bro. That's what they do.
I ain't gonna do any harm to you.
He thought maybe my name was Big Dog, guys. I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, in Lakewood, I went into the DMV and I was recording. I was actually really did have legitimate business. I was getting my driver's license renewed, but I was documenting my own interactions with government, right?
Remember the name on that? Driver's license?
No, man, I forgot.
Big Dog.
Yeah, it's Big Dog. But anyways, they called the police on me because they said that I couldn't record there. It's their policy and stuff like that. And so I said, "Oh, policy is not a law. I don't have to abide by your policy." And basically, the cops showed up, and right away, the cop came up and said, "Hey, man, this is a public space. There's nothing they can do. This is open to the public." And the security guard said, "Well, this is actually a privately owned business." And he said, "It doesn't matter. I have all this on body cams. Doesn't matter if you guys, the state of Colorado is leasing this space from a private owner. Once it's leased, and they can come in here. The sergeant came in, everything, and they left. There's nothing they can do." So are you telling me then, in your opinion, that sergeant and those 3 officers that came in there were incorrect and they should have trespassed me?
No, I'd have to see the setup there. I don't know where.
Same thing. It's a public space that's privately owned.
Who
but
owns it?
I don't know, some owner owns it, and then the DMV, the state of Colorado, is leasing the space for the DMV.
Yeah, it's situationally dependent.
Oh man, it's the same thing, it's the same situation.
I don't agree. I don't. I think this is a very small portion of this overall building.
It doesn't matter if it's a small, like a little closet, man. If it's open to the public and there's a whole mall, shopping mall, and there's one closet that it's open to the public, it's got a lobby in there with 1 chair. That's the way it is.
Well, I disagree with you on this.
Okay.
Colorado Springs 911, what's the location of your emergency?
It's 30 East Pikes Peak Avenue, Colorado Springs.
Okay, is that a health
Suite
department?
200.
Okay.
It's a business. It's the public defender's office. We've called a couple times now. This is the 3rd call. We've been waiting for about an hour. Basically, there are these 2 guys recording in the office. They've been asked to leave by public defender staff. They've been asked to leave by the building security, and they're refusing to leave. They're filming. They're basically harassing us. I don't know what's going on, if there's some other emergency going on in the Springs right now, but we are pretty close to the police department, so we're just trying to find out why it's taking so long to get someone down here.
Okay, 1 moment.
There's police parking spot right next to our building.
Okay. Well, let me double check here.
We've had to shut down, right? Like, we can't get clients in or out.
Okay. I understand. It does look like this call is still holding. Unfortunately, our officers have been pretty busy this morning. We had a few pretty high priority calls coming in, so all of our officers are on another call at the moment. We're working on getting them out there as quickly as we possibly can, though.
Okay, so there's just something else going on in town?
Yeah.
I know you can't tell me, but I guess I'll read about it in the news, some of that nature, or it's like...
It's kind of all over the place right now. All of our officers are on calls, and we're still backed up. So we're trying to catch up and get out there as quickly as we can. We just haven't had one available yet.
Okay.
Okay. I did go ahead and update my dispatcher, though, so we're working on getting him out there.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Should we call Bay Area Transparency and see what he has to say about it?
Who is that?
It's a friend of mine. He just texted me, so
Is he a
I was
lawyer?
wondering. No, he's not. He's a civil liberties activist. He's not an attorney, but I would like to see. I mean, he's a really smart guy, so I'd like to see what he seems to think about it. Okay, let's see. Let's see what Bay Area says, guys.
Yo,
what up, big dog? Yep.
What's up with you? How you doing, bro?
Good. So we're live, man, right now. So we just wanted to get your opinion on if this is a privately owned building, but it's leased through the government, and the employees here don't want us here. We actually have a head of security here who works for the privately owned building here, and he says he was a lieutenant for the Colorado Springs Police Department for decades. And he says if he was on this call for service, that he would put us in handcuffs and trespass us out of here. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts would be that he would be a tyrant if he was to do that, because the public has a right, regardless of it being a private building, the public has a right because they lease office space to a public building. We have a right to be there, to gather content for the First Amendment, for news purposes, to ask for public records, to speak. The fact that they don't like that you have a camera doesn't negate the fact that you have a right to be there under the First Amendment. Well, you have a right to record for free press under the First Amendment. You have a right to be there and get public records or anything else you want. So public office. If that private building doesn't like it, they should probably not lease to public entities.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. They shouldn't lease to a public entity. And he was trying to say, well, the melting pot downstairs. And I was like, well, yeah, that's a privately owned business. That's a private business. I can't go in there and record. If they want me to leave, I have to leave. So.
Right. Yeah, you can't go into the lobby of one of the private businesses if they don't want you there, right? Yeah, you do have a right to go in, but if they ask you not to record, they can ask you to leave. But for the public spaces and the public areas of that building, the publicly accessible areas, we have every right to be there and record, gathering content for a news story on that public entity. You have every right to do that. So there's really nothing they can do. And for him to not know that so many years as a lieutenant for law enforcement, there's might be a reason. Maybe he's not law enforcement anymore. I'm not sure, but that's kind of embarrassing. So I always tell them, and if he's listening to this, it's not you that you should know this. The fact that you don't is your training failing you. Your training has failed you. So they need to learn it and get up on it, because it's happening and it's not going to stop.
Yeah. All right, man. Good looking out, bro. Appreciate your opinion on that.
All right, big
All right, man.
Take care.
Later, bro.
Yep. Bye.
So I tell you, I mean, we're all going to be here till, closing. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a guy with a whole lot of experience. But what I will tell you is I'll follow up with the building owner and ask him to talk to his legal team to see if your opinion that this is a public space, meaning that you can't be removed from the space when the tenant, who is the public defender's office, asks you to leave. And I'll get a legal opinion from that. Because the last thing we want to do is put the owner of this property in a position where, they're wrong.
Yeah.
So you've got my contact information. You know who I am.
Yeah.
I know you're Ernesto.
Yeah, exactly. Paco.
He said Ernesto.
He said Ernesto?
Yeah.
He knows my name, guys. He knows I'm Ernesto. Okay.
Well, he knows I'm Parker Osmond, so I mean.
I used to be a cop. We call that a clue when someone calls you by a name. Come on, man.
So I got your email here. So how about this then, man? How about we take off? We'll ask actually my partner here what he thinks, because we've been here for what, like 2 or 3 hours?
I'd say probably 2.5, 3 hours.
So my attorney told me that I'm overloading them already, and we got enough fish to fry and stuff like that. So I would like to follow up with you, and I got your email. I'll email you. You want me to give you like a week and then email you and see if we got enough time to get in contact with the
It'll be
legal
time.
team?
I can't obviously the guy that owns this building is a very, very busy man, so I can't promise his time. But what I can do is tell you that I will follow up with him, and that's going to be my request. He doesn't have to do what I ask him to do. His opinion may be that, absolutely not, that's my building. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't talked to him. I talked to the property management sent me over.
Okay.
But it's reasonable. I'm a very reasonable man. If nothing else, maybe a covert narcissist, but I'm a reasonable man.
I know someone who likes to use that word a lot.
So then I'll just,
Public media knows what I'm talking about.
I'll email you later then, I guess.
Okay.
And if you say, hey, you know what, you have a right to be here. We looked into our legal team. I'm sure you still got some connections with the police department. Maybe talk with the legal advisor for the Colorado Springs Police Department, see what they have to say. But I encourage you to do your due diligence, man, because like I said, I want to like you. I think that you're a fine gentleman. I just think that you're misinformed. So let me know what he says, and then if he says, hey, they can record in that doesn't matter if it's privately owned, then we'll come back and we'll just do a little tour, just for our audience, and say, hey, we're just taking some pictures. We'll hang out for a little bit. I'm not going to hang out here for 2.5 hours. I promise you that. Just to kind of prove our point and see if the employees will treat us with respect next time. Okay. And then that's it. We'll be out of here, man. And if
You're gonna shake my hand now?
Oh, I'm not done though. If they say that, if your legal team says that, hey, that no, they're going to trespass us out of here, then when I'm done with my cases and stuff, I'm going to come in here and I'll just get arrested and
push the issue.
We'll see it because like Rosa Parks, right? It was illegal for her to sit on the front of the bus, right? So she had to challenge that. It's called civil disobedience, and it's how we change things, right? And even if it was a law, let's say it was a law, and I'm wrong, it's okay for good people to break bad laws. Okay, that's what I think. So, but you know what? I'll shake your hand, man.
Ernesto.
Ernesto,
Steve.
you got me, man. You got old Ernesto over here.
I got you.
All right. Okay.
Bye, viewers.
We'll be out of here.
All right.
Well, I'll be in contact with you though, man.
Yes, email me. I know.
So Bay Area, he said, hey, Mr. Denver Metro. And then I was talking while he was talking though, and so he said, hey, Ernesto.
Oh, yeah.
That was the thing. That's why he thinks my name's Ernesto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This is one of the rude ladies from the public defender's office. They wouldn't answer our questions. I need to do a public records request.
We can't help you with that.
Well, you're supposed to help. You're
Well,
violating
we're
the law.
trying. She's probably getting a supervisor.
How come you're being aggressive too?
You know
Like,
me.
look at
Thanks.
all the employees are rude.
Thank you.
I do need help here.
Okay. Do you want to fill out an application for a public defender?
I don't need a public defender.
Okay,
I have
well,
other
that's
services.
what we do here.
I need to find out their names. So I
Like
need to do a public records request.
See,
so-
we are not required to give you our names.
Well, actually, you are. I need names and salaries of every employee working here today.
You are.
You would be in violation of the FOIA
He wants
Act.
names and salaries of everybody who's
Yes.
working.
They stormed out of there and wanted to call the police to have us removed. They never even showed up. We tried to do a public records request, but she wouldn't even acknowledge us.
Anyways, Nancy Nathaniel, Denver Metro Audits. I think we may do another audit, or I don't know, we may just get right to the margaritas.